Okay, so we're going to have a look at the Optikinetics Solar 250. We've got the old original version, and I'm going to compare that with the new LED version to see if we can have a look at the quality and the general feel for both of them. You need to just screw the stand on, and then I've got the lens here. Obviously you can see the lens end. It's going to go just in like that, quite easy, just screws in. I think the lamp for this one is working, but if it's not, then you'll just usually have a little screw to keep this cap on, but the lamp is in there if you need to change it. And then we've got regular power, got kettle lead just to plug in. I'm going to unbox the new LED equipment and accessories. So it looks a lot, feels a lot lighter and is a lot cleaner. So here they are side by side. This is the old original Solar 250. This is the slightly smaller but pretty similar looking newer one with the LED lamp. So the benefits of this one is you won't have to replace the lamp so often. These ones you should always carry some lamps around with you because they do not last that long, and you should expect for a lamp to blow every so often. Yeah, this one is so much lighter, like really easy to lift up in comparison. This one is definitely like a two-hand job. It is so heavy in comparison, but similar build. So the idea is that a lot of the components are the accessories, like the extra lenses and the effects wheels, we can use on both of them. So I've bought a lot of equipment here. I'm quite excited about all the cool new things I've got to test and play out with. Yes, but this looks great. It's a panoramic rotator. If you can see this, it looks pretty cool. And this is a kaleidoscope lens, which does probably what you can imagine. I don't know if you can see down there. So this is a lens that will turn whatever output into a kaleidoscope effect. Because the new one has magnetic clips, so it should be easier to put things on and off. And I think I have an accessory to turn this one into magnetic as well, I think, perhaps. I've got this solar multi-mirror. I don't know what it does. I don't even know if there was instructions or guides or an example of what it does, but I mean, just look at it. Doesn't that look cool? So we're going to try all these out tonight or tomorrow. So this is an older one, original, but I think I should be able to use this on the new one as well. As it looks like there are pieces of printed acetate squeezed in between two pieces of glass in here. There's a person on eBay who sells these, loads of different colours and varieties. If you just type it in, you'll be able to find them. Okay, so I've just had a quick play with the two of them in this room, and so far I'm pretty impressed with the LED one. For ease of changing the parts, everything's just magnetic, it just pops on and pops off. It's so good, there's no plugging anything in. Yeah, really convenient, really easy, lightweight. Yeah, so far it's great. All the connectors are all attached to these rotators and wheel holders. Even though plugging this in didn't take 2 seconds, it's just like extra convenience, and it's really cool. It's like a novelty. The only bad thing is that when I was changing one of my old wheels, I broke it. It was my favourite one, so I'm a bit gutted about that. But oh well, I think I was just a bit heavy-handed. So I've placed both projectors side by side on the floor. They are both 10 meters away from the wall. The one on the left is the LED version. The one on the right is the older version with the halogen lamp. So there's quite a big difference in colour temperature. You can see on the left the LED version is, as you'd expect, much cooler, and the one on the right is warmer in comparison. The LED version is also a lot brighter. There's a big difference between the width of the beams here, so that's probably not down to the difference in the models. The new LED version comes with a standard 85mm lens, but I chose the 60mm one, and that's the widest one you can get, so that's probably why that's a lot wider than the one on the right. To compare the two projectors, I've used the same liquid effect wheel in both projectors. So at first glance, the reds do look quite different, although I'm not totally convinced that they are the same red. The older one on the right looks to be a bluer red, whereas the one on the left seems to be much more orangey. I can't really tell if this is just a different part of the wheel or the light output is actually that different. Overall though, the LED version on the left, the whites are much brighter and crisper, and generally brighter. This is the original Optikinetics wheel cassette holder, and you can see there is the motor on the back. So easy to attach, you just slide it in and then plug it into the side for power, and that's what makes the wheel go round. So we're looking at the accessories for the new model, and that's the magnetic attachment. So it's got the wheels have got big magnets, and you just pop them on, it's that easy. And you just twist the lens to get your image into focus, like you would with a camera. We've got a variable speed wheel rotator with a 6-inch wheel on it. We can change the direction that it rotates in, and we can also change the speed. Something to bear in mind, if you're going to go for a lens that gives you a wider effect, then it's not going to be quite as bright because you've got the same amount of light output, but it's just going to be spread over a bigger distance. So if brightness is important, I would maybe stick with the standard lens. This one is a 50mm cassette, so this one's not magnetic, and it does need a different rotator, but they're quite straightforward. They just push on, and you can see the cogs all line up, and that's quite straightforward to put on. This one is called number 13, and we've got the same effects. It's a variable speed and direction as well. This one is also a 50mm cassette. Works in exactly the same way as the last one. Variety in direction and speed. This one is called number 20. This is the Solar multi-mirror, and it fits on exactly the same way as the other wheel holders do. So you would have an effect wheel on the back slot, and you could just put this one on the front slot, and that's going to create your effect. So this one was easy to install the effect, but it was a little bit more tricky to set up. So as you can see, it shoots all the effect out over to the side and a lot lower than what would normally be. So there's something to bear in mind if you're wanting the effect to be in a specific area. I had to kind of prop it up and have it on an angle. And the effect comes out in landscape, so that's something to bear in mind as well. You might have to sit it on its side and make sure it's got enough fan if you did want to have it in portrait mode. Similar to the other accessories, you can change the speed and direction. Next up is the Panoramic rotator. So this one goes on top of the lens that's already there. So you just slot it into the lens that's existing. For this one, you do need to use a little plug to get your 12-volt power to rotate the motor for the effect. It's recommended to use the 85mm lens. I've got the 60mm one. It seems to work similarly to other videos I've seen online with the regular lens. So the effect wheel I've chosen is static, but you can have the effect wheel moving behind as well It was just, I thought this would give a better description of what's actually happening. It seems that you've got a focal point in the centre, and then you've got other things moving in and out of that. It kind of looks like a 90s or noughties sort of TV logo effect, which is quite funny. And then the Kaleidoscope lens, which works as you'd expect it. This time you replace the existing lens with this one. And for this, I would put your effect wheel on the rear attachment space, because when you're adjusting the focus, you can sometimes bash the wheel. The wheel gets in the way. So best to put that one on the back, and then the Kaleidoscope in the front. And you just move it in and out to get your focus right, and it gives you a 6-sided image. So each projector does have 2 spaces for effects, so you can put 2 effects on at once. And because each of the motors are all independent, you can have things going at different speeds and different directions. But just obviously bear in mind, the more effects and filters that you have, the less bright it's going to be. So by adjusting the focus of the lens, you can choose which one of the effects wheels that you want to be in focus. So I did find a problem with using 2 of the 6-inch cassettes at the same time. I found they were too close together and they were sort of grinding against each other, moving in quite a jittery kind of rotation. You might get away with it if they were both moving quite slowly in the same direction, or I guess obviously if they're stationary it's no problem. But if you want one to go the other way, then it's definitely not going to be an option. I didn't have this problem with the 50mm cassettes, so there's plenty of room with that. And obviously other ways of getting layering is just to have your 2 projectors both on at the same time to layer up your effects. And by doing that you can have fun with silhouettes. So to summarise, really pleased with the new one. It's super light, really easy and practical to use. It's brighter. I'm happy with my wide beam. But if you have an old one, there is no reason to upgrade. There's nothing that you can't do with the older version. I really like how I can use my new wheels on my older projector. What's not so good is the fact that I couldn't have my 2 6-inch wheels working at the same time, but it's not a big deal. I'm sure I'll work around it. I did have a bit of an issue with the focus on the newer projector. When I used the bubble wheel, I kept on having to adjust the focus. So it makes me think that maybe the cassette was not on quite straight, so maybe I need to have a look at that. But if that was happening, that would be quite annoying. But I won't really know until I do a real event with these. I bought the new Solar 250 from Optikinetics, and Bubble Vision is a shop I would check out for liquid wheels.